You know when you're playing a game and the harder you try, the worse you start playing? Then at some point, you stop forcing it. You stop caring quite so much, and suddenly everything clicks again. Your aim feels better, your decisions become faster, then all of a sudden the pressure just disappears. Most people assume that's random. It's actually not. I remember watching a tennis match a few years ago where the same thing was happening in real time. One player looked exactly how you expect a professional athlete to look. He was locked in and clearly treating every point like it was important. After losing a rally, he'd turn away, stare at the court, sort his breathing out, then bounce on his toes before the next serve. Meanwhile, the other guy looked almost too relaxed. If he lost a point, he'd just shrug. Sometimes he smiled. At one stage, he even laughed with someone near the front. Between points, he was just walking back to the baseline, like there was no rush at all. For a while, it honestly came across like he didn't care that much. Usually that's the kind of thing commentators jump on. They'll say a player's checked out mentally, others frame it as a lack of hunger. Some make it sound like he isn't taking the match seriously. Then the odd part started showing up. He kept winning the important points, not all of them, just the ones that seemed to matter most. Whenever the score got tight or a rally dragged on, or the set started tipping towards one of those pressure moments, he sharpened up. Suddenly his choices looked cleaner. Meanwhile, the player who'd looked more focused started missing shots he normally makes without thinking. That got me wondering about something. If intense focus is meant to help, why did the relaxed player seem to have more of it when it counted? To understand it properly, it helps to leave tennis alone for a second and look at something more normal. Think about a full day where you've had to make decision after decision. Emails, messages, plans, food, little problems, random stuff that needs sorting, all of it. None of those things feel dramatic on their own. By evening though, you can feel something's off. You sit down to do one simple thing and your brain feels fatigued than it should. Maybe you read the same paragraph 3 times. Perhaps you end up hesitating over something that would have taken 2 seconds in the morning. Psychology has a term that people use for that kind of drain. It's called ego depletion. Basically, the idea is that the part of you doing the controlling, concentrating, and holding yourself together is working with limited mental resources. Every time you force focus, show restraint, or push deliberate effort, you use a bit of that up. Do that all day and the tank starts running low. So in competitive situations, something slightly backwards can happen. The person who looks most focused the whole time might actually be burning through their energy too early. Every frustrated reaction costs something. Each attempt to stay visibly intense costs something. Even forcing yourself to look switched on all the time costs something. By the time the big moment arrives, there's less left than you think. Now go back to that relaxed tennis player. What if that calm wasn't indifference at all? Maybe it was conservation. When he shrugs after losing a point, he's not adding extra emotional work for himself. Instead of trying to manufacture intensity between rallies, he's leaving his mind alone. Rather than getting pulled into stress every few seconds, he's keeping the pressure from spreading into everything. That doesn't mean he's disengaged from the match. It means he's being careful with his energy. Once you look at it like that, the whole thing reads differently. The casual behavior early on stops looking like a lack of effort. It starts looking like a deeper kind of discipline. He's protecting the mental resources he'll need later when the points actually decide something. In sport, you hear people talk about playing loose, and it can sound a bit vague. Underneath that phrase, there's actually something quite practical going on. Deliberate control is expensive. Whenever you force tension, override emotion, or try to stay dialed up for too long, you're spending something real. It's invisible, but it matters. So the player who seems relaxed may be doing something very precise. He's letting his mind idle when the moment doesn't need full power. That way, when the pressure rises, the engine still has something left. This isn't just a tennis thing either. You see it in exams. You see it in negotiations. You see it in public speaking. You even see it in creative work. Someone who spends the whole process straining at maximum intensity often reaches the key moment already worn down. Another person can look weirdly unbothered and still think more clearly when the pressure finally hits. From the outside, that can look like they care less. In reality, it can be the opposite. They care enough not to waste attention on moments that don't need it. So when you watch that player strolling back to the baseline, smiling after losing a point, looking almost detached from all the tension around him, the easy read is that he isn't invested enough. There's another way to read it though. Maybe he isn't careless. Maybe he's just managing his focus better. He lets the ordinary points stay ordinary. He doesn't waste energy reacting to every mistake or trying to look locked in for the sake of it. So when the score tightens, the rally drags on, and the match finally demands something real, that's when the difference shows. The relaxed player suddenly looks sharper. he kept something back, while the other guy had been spending it the whole time. And that is probably why you felt the same thing in games. You start out forcing every fight, reading too much into every mistake, acting like every round needs maximum intensity. Then eventually you let go a bit, and somehow you play better. Your decisions clean up, your aim settles down, the game slows back down. You finally have enough left in your head for the moments that actually matter. Anyway, that was Ghost Lobby. Thanks for watching.